Hey, RGS family. Listen, you all are in for a treat today. I had the awesome pleasure of interviewing Coach April Hogan. Coach April is a dynamic entrepreneur, author, and business strategist with a passion for empowering individuals and organizations to reach their highest potential. She is a proud Army veteran, and as a proud Army veteran, she brings the discipline and resilience of her military background into every facet of her work. And listen, Coach April, we are certainly ever grateful to you for your service. She is the CEO of A Rich Innovations LLC, a multifaceted business consulting firm specializing in funding, government contracting, BPO services, and strategic growth solutions. With a background in business and cybersecurity, April has helped launch and scale countless ventures through her consulting, training programs, and innovative platforms like Pandora Pay. A celebrated speaker and the host of Sessions with Coach April podcast, she combines practical advice with inspiration to help others transform vision into reality. April is also deeply committed to community development through vocational education and youth entrepreneurship programs, making her a powerful force for both business, success, and social impact. So, listen, after the intro, you all are going to be able to hear from Coach April yourself. Please make sure that you have your pens, your notebooks, your favorite healthy beverage, and be ready because you should have several pages full of notes by the time this session is done. Hey there, welcome saving and investing. And I'm First Corinthians chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, saying that finances is not a set forgiveness. Hey there. Welcome to the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast, the show where heaven's economy collides with earth's assignments. I am your host, Dr. Lexi Johnson, your financial rebel, kingdom disruptor, and your accountability coach into obedience. Listen, around here, we don't beg God for money, we align, we obey, and we dominate. And because stewardship isn't just about money, it's about mindsets, missions, and multiplying what's been placed in your hands. So if you're tired of playing small and praying broke and calling it faith, you're in the right place. And we are going to dive right in. Listen, Coach April, I'm so excited to have you on the show. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and I want to thank you for inviting me to come on as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, we've had a chance just to kind of, go back and forth a little bit. I've been on your show. I've actually, been getting to know you and your platform, and I love everything that you stand for, and particularly because we do this from a place of faith. We're
Yes.
centered and grounded in that, and so I'm definitely always interested in aligning with people who do that. And so today you're going to be talking with us and sharing with us like how to dominate in your space. And so the first question that I have for you, and if there's anything else that you want to share, because I've introduced you to the people, but if there's anything else that you want to share about yourself, you can take a moment to do so. But the question that I'm going to put forth to kick us off is, what does it mean to you to dominate from a kingdom perspective, right? Not in arrogance, but in that authority that God gives us.
All right. So, what it means to me to dominate from a kingdom perspective is to be operating under the authority that God has given us, right? Oftentimes, and I had to learn this the hard way, that it's not me. I have this this thing where it's like, oh, I can do anything. And it took me a hard lesson to learn, April, no, you can't. Not without the authority that God has given you, not without his hand or not without his will. So it's not to control, it's not to compress or oppress, but it's to bring order, it's to bring light, it's to bring excellence to every space that you enter, to every space that you're called to. Leave the ego behind and just be obedient. So once you're being obedient to Christ, obedient to his word, obedient to what he's called for you in your life, I mean, you're not going to shrink, and you're automatically going to dominate in any area that you're in. So remembering that it's not your glory but his.
Mm. Yes, if we can just keep that at the forefront, that it is His glory. This thing is not even about us at all.
Absolutely.
And you said a couple of things that resonated with me when we talk about that word dominion, because oftentimes we think of that word dominion in the earthly way, right? I'm just going to run over people, step over people, whatever. Control, like you mentioned, that this is not about control, but we think it's control. We get a title and we're like, okay, I gotta make people do
Right.
things, or um but what you were talking about is more of influence, kingdom influence.
Right.
And that is just, is super amazing when you can understand that.
Hmm.
And like you said, you check that ego, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all have it.
Yeah. And as you get to points that you realize you're in a space, it's like, oh gosh, I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Compared to where I was, I'm here. It is, you do have to go back and remind yourself that, hey, it's not you. And as soon as you start taking accountability for that, it can go the opposite way. So don't boast in yourself, boast in he who gave it to you. So just remembering that it's a daily struggle to check your ego.
Y-
So,
Yes, it is, girl. It's a daily struggle. And I'm glad you said that, because oftentimes people will, get on and will put on these airs like it's not a struggle to check it, with this
mhm,
false humility, if you will.
yeah,
And so I'm glad that you said that yes, it's a daily struggle to continue to remind yourself this isn't about you. Because like you
right.
said, as you're climbing, you're seeing success, you're seeing other people having success
Mhm,
because of, maybe some of the influence that you have.
mhm.
And so yeah, you have to remind yourself every day, mm-mm, flesh,
Right.
lay down.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So what area has God given you dominion in, and how did you come to recognize it?
So, that was when I read this question, I was trying to figure out, okay, so how do I wanna answer this? So, I'll say in business in general,
Mhm.
one of the things that he has been really like he's really blessed me with is the mind that he's given me, just the ability to take something and develop something out of nothing, the creativity, and then being able to take that and having the desire to not just want to do for me, but to be able to show other people that they can do that too, whether it's developing entrepreneurs, helping to develop leaders. It's just something that I feel like it just comes easy to me. So, and growing things like the creative space and growth and all that. So, even areas where, and I feel like I finally came out of this space. Well, no, I won't even say that because I still am in this space. Areas where I don't necessarily feel ready,
Mhm.
and he's shown me like, hey, like it's not you, like it's me. So, between his favor and him just like I feel like that's how I recognize it. It's like even areas where I felt like, hey, like you can't do this, or you're not good enough for this, or and there's one show I talked about the imposter syndrome that makes you feel
Mhm.
like you're not good enough. But when you realize it's not about you and that it's not you anyway, and if he is as great as what you say he is, right?
Right.
Then you don't matter anyway. Just step out, do what he's telling you to do, and it's gonna align one way or the other. I mean, it may not align the way that you specifically thought it was going to, because it's not your plan, it's his. You may need to go through a couple bumps that make you question, like, was I supposed to do this?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's gonna align the way that he wants it to align, and the outcome is gonna be amazing.
Look, the part where you said, "This is not you anyway. This is it's him in you." doing these things. You just be where he tells you to be, say what he tells you to say,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
that's our job, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so when we can realize that, I think then we have an easier time, or when we hit those bumps, so those areas of discouragement or whatever, then we don't stay in those pits, if you will,
right.
for too long.
Mm,
I have learned, and I'm a work in progress, right? So I have
mhm.
learned there are times when I hit moments of, discouragement, and I can be like, all right, God, you know, this is a reminder, this is your show, right?
Right, right.
And then there are other times where I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? What, like you said, you begin to question. Um, but um, if you are, consistently in his word, studying, praying, worshiping, listening, all of those things, you don't stay in those pit places, I call them, very, very long.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you'll recall the word, and it'll snap you back out of it.
Right.
um, but yeah, you definitely made some good points there. Can you share a time when you had to walk in bold authority despite fear or resistance? Because you alluded already to, sometimes when you're like, uh oh, some bumps, right? But
Yeah.
share with us a time where you had to walk in that bold authority,
Mhm.
even though you were fear or maybe even a little resistant.
So I will say my career has been so I kind of grew up and I feel like you go through what you need to go through for your life, right? And it's
Yeah.
never for you, it's always for somebody else. But I grew up kind of hearing that you're not going to be anything or you're not going to finish this. And that already made anything that I wanted to do or be difficult
Yeah.
because I had this voice in my head always saying you're not going to accomplish, you're not going to. Um, so so then you got the other obstacles, right? You're a female, you're a black female. Um, you're younger. So I've had even because I started my business in my 20s initially.
Mhm.
So the fact that my most of my clients are older, are men, like so now I have to prove a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of times it's just like I would go into a room and it'd be like before I went in the room, I'm prepared. I got this. I get in there, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, because I feel like I don't look like what success should look like at
Mhm.
those points in my life, right? I don't
Yeah.
look like what knowledge in those areas should look like at those points in my life. Again, going back to the fact that it is not me, it is Christ. Trusting what he has called me to do, trusting the places that he has put me in, right? If I'm there for a reason, whether I'm there to learn, because maybe I go into a room and it doesn't go the way I want to,
Yeah.
but there was something I took away from being in that room and still getting that no, which put me where I am now, right? So just despite the fear, despite, you know, any type of thing that was telling me like you don't have this, it's always the remembrance. And I say this to say, like, because I said I started in my 20s, it hasn't always been, God, you got me, right? Like, although
Mhm.
I always knew I grew up in the church, but
Right.
I wasn't in the mature space then as I am now that says, you got this, right? He's got you because it's not you. But something, the spirit, always kind of just kept pushing me. And then I got to a point where I kind of went through a little bit of a breakdown medically, which now was emotionally and spiritually. And then that was the point that was like, okay, now all this time you thought it was you. I want to show you it's been me the entire time. Now I need you to
Mm.
stop depending on you and I need you to depend on me because now I can take you where I really want to take you because you're no longer depending on April. So if that answered the question, I kind of went on
That
a whole
absolutely, yeah, it definitely answered the question. And I love how transparent you are. And you talked about, going through a situation where it's like a stripping almost, if you will. And it is that point where God has to show you, like, no, let me show you that it has never been you,
Mhm.
that it's
Yeah.
always been me,
Right.
and that you are definitely going to have to learn how to trust me.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that it's important for other entrepreneurs to hear that, and not just entrepreneurs, but people in general. I think for all of us, well, I don't know, I'll speak for myself too, but there comes a point where in your life where, you know, the rubber meets the road, if you will, or you do have to be laid down to a point where you can't do anything. And I don't necessarily always mean physical, or it could be anything. Um, and you find out, yeah, this ain't me. This
Right.
is, this is God, and I have to put my trust in God, not in other people, places, or things,
Hmm.
situations, and myself. But this is God. So yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, and elaborate a little bit. And when you get to that point,
Yeah,
then the pieces that don't seem to line up
yeah,
feel so much better because you're no longer doubting you. You're no longer, oh my gosh, I can't do this, or I'm not, because you realize, look, it's just part of the journey.
yeah.
Like, Lord, you told me to trust you.
That's
So you got to have
right,
me this time. So,
right.
yeah.
And I tell you, if you read your word, then you know and you understand that you expect those times,
Right.
because life is cyclical. So you're going to have the times everything is, going great, or just about everything. Because I was sharing in another podcast earlier that we live in a duality. So you can have amazing things going on, but you can also be having some fights in some other areas. Um, but in all of it, he's in charge. And
Right.
so, and I'm definitely grateful that he is, and I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, me too.
For sure. So, how do you stay grounded in humility? We talked about chucking the ego, but how do you stay grounded in humility while you're carrying spiritual weight and leadership? Because as I watch you, I've watched several of your podcasts. I you have, been able, just as much as I could see. I don't know you all that well yet, but watch how you handle business. There is a spiritual weight about you, and there is, you can tell that you have this natural ability, and spiritual ability to lead. This is something that has been with you all your life. And so, how do you stay grounded in humility while carrying out, your spiritual assignments, while leading?
I'll say first, self-reflection. So taking time to, I will tell you, there was a while back where I took everything personal.
Mm,
Like, just like if something happened, or it's not my fault, or so I think now, part of maturity, but self-reflection, taking time to
mhm,
reflect on how I handled things, whether it's how I handled it in a good way, how I handled it in a bad way. Am I making decisions because I'm just making a rash decision and it sounds good, or am I
mhm.
actually seeking my CEO for answers, right? When I
Yeah.
made that decision, did I just make it, or was I being led to make that decision? So self accountability, self reflection is first, but then also surrounding myself around a
Mm,
kingdom community, right? Because you do have to be accountable to someone. Um, and if you don't, if you, you're going to be who you surround yourself with to an extent, right? Like, of course, we
yeah.
still, not saying that, oh, I don't have anybody around me that's not, because you still got to inspire others, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about who my community is, right? The people that
Yes.
I'm getting my truth from. Those are kingdom led. I have a kingdom led community. So when I am able to be accountable to them, and then also listen to, hey, April, you know, you did this, and being able to not be take offense,
Hmm.
but reflect. Did I? I might need a day. but but being able to really be accountable for who I am, because
Yeah.
again, I said earlier, it's not about me. It's about whatever I'm going through is about whoever I'm supposed to be going through it for.
Mm,
So I can't truly be that person for whoever needs to see it if I can't recognize where I'm at, right?
mm,
So that's probably the biggest thing, is just the self reflection, and then the community, that Christ community around me, those truth tellers, and being willing to accept that, hey, like, you may have messed up this time, or hey, your ego may be creeping back. Like so.
Okay. That is so good. That is so good. Self-reflection and accountability are huge. And, you know, many of us, we get into business because we love the idea of being our own boss.
Mhm.
Nobody can tell us what to do. I can do what I want to do when I want to do it, how I want to do it, right?
Right.
But as a daughter of the Most High, as a son of the Most High, we do have to realize, oh, this still ain't about me doing what I want to do, when I want to do, how I want to do it. Right? This is his show. This is his
Mhm.
show. I'm a steward. And as you mentioned, that self-reflection is so important, because certainly we would like to think that we got it all together, we're perfect, everything that we're saying and how we're talking to people and what we're doing, that it all is coming across the way it's supposed to come across or whatever.
Right.
But that self-reflection is so important, and the accountability piece, as you mentioned, being able to submit to people, you know,
Mhm.
the kingdom led people in your life, so that you can continue doing the work and getting better in the
Right.
work that you're doing. Your a follow up question to the self reflection piece. Um, how do you self self reflect? Is it something that you do daily? Is it weekly? Is it a certain way you do it? I'm just curious. I know that went on the script, but I'm just
It's okay.
curious.
So my goal, and I'm gonna say my goal is daily. do,
Right.
do I always? No. I actually, in my business, in my team, we have this thing that we do called a daily debrief. And because I generally work weekends too, even though I'm off, you know,
Mhm.
I own the business.
Right.
um, through that daily debrief, I've learned. So there's a piece that says tasks you completed today, things you need help with, what were your what things kind of blocked your progress, and then what do you plan to do tomorrow? And I've noticed when I do my daily debrief, and even my team will say, like, why is your distractions, why you always go so deep in depth? I'll be like, I had a headache and this happened, like stuff that's like not business related at all.
Yeah.
Or this person said this and got me off track, or like
Yeah.
stuff that's like, come on now. So
Yeah.
and a part of that is part of it, because it helps me realize, okay, what did you do today? Like, what did you accomplish today? What did you not accomplish? How did it overall, like, because I used to be really hard on myself when I felt like I didn't get enough done.
Yeah.
So it helps me reflect on what I actually got done. And because mine also turns very personal, it
Yeah.
also helps me in terms of like home, me, all of that. And then I am really big at when I pray at night, I pray throughout the day. Like I'll have just random conversations, like Lord, like just I talk
All
to my
day.
right with me all the time. But like when I pray at night,
Mhm.
typically speaking, it is a full blown conversation, and I'm
Mhm.
like almost talking about what I need in terms of my reflection, what
Yeah.
I need to see, or what I need assistance with, or what I need help with, or show me if I did that right, right?
Yeah.
So and I feel like that's not even a something I feel like I've been doing that for maybe a year, and it wasn't even planned. It just, as my relationship got closer to him and I realized, hey, like it like you need the guidance. You need the Holy Spirit to guide you. You need to understand. One thing my mom used to say all the time growing up was, ask the Lord to show you yourself. One of the
Mm.
hardest people to see. You can see everything everybody else does. One of
Mercy.
the hardest people to see is yourself. So I tend to ask, like, I may have seen it this way, but I also
Yeah.
know I'm very stubborn. I
Yeah.
also know I'm very, as a matter of fact. So if I should have done it different, Lord, tell me, show me, but show me in a way that I'm understand. 'Cause, I don't always get it.
Right.
so so I would say
Right.
that's a big piece, writing it down and then taking it to God and saying, hey, like, what am I seeing? What am I seeing that's different from what you are wanting? So
Yeah. That is so good. So when you said you do a daily briefing with your team, that excited me because I do. I call mine like a daily check-in,
Okay.
and I love it. I love it. And on the days that I don't do it, because I'm not perfect, but on the days that it doesn't happen, I can certainly tell the
Yeah.
difference between the two. It's just like on the days if I don't get up and read or spend time in the word and prayer and things like that, I can tell the day, I can tell
Yeah.
the difference in the day. And it's not necessarily that things just go horribly or anything like that, but you can just tell it's just
Sometimes
it's
they
a
just miss
different
it. Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that because I'm sure that's going to be helpful to someone today. That if you're not doing some type of regular reflection, and I think a daily briefing is good, even if you don't have a whole team of host of people, it can be just you and God
You and you,
or
you're right.
daily check-in,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
right? Yes. So I hope you guys out there are enjoying this conversation with Coach April because I certainly am. We're going to take our first break and we will be right back. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. And now, if you have yet to get your copy of Stop Begging God for Money, I don't know what you are waiting on. Listen, grab your copy. Not only was it a Amazon, new hot release, and it was also a bestseller, and it remained on the bestseller for 10 days. Now,
Wow.
that was not my mark, okay? Certainly, it's an indicator, right? But more importantly for me, what that meant was people were buying the book, people were reviewing the book, they loved the book. But again, it's not about me, it's about the message God gave me to give to you all about your finances, right? And how to align your financial life with the rest of your faith life, okay? Because it's all intertwined. All right. So if you haven't gotten your copy yet, make sure that you go get it. You can go to authorlexijohnson.com, or you can go to Amazon, or anywhere online where books are sold. All right. All right, Coach April. We are having an amazing time in
Yes.
our chat today. And so I want to ask you now, um, what role does financial stewardship play in helping someone dominate in their assignment?
So I will say first, in order to do anything, manage a business, manage your purpose, you got to be able to manage your finances. So it's definitely a huge role, because you got to be able to. You can't, and it's not all about money, right? We understand that it's not
Right.
all about money, but to really be able to do what you need to do, and a lot of times, especially the influence part, it takes money. It takes money to run a business. It takes money, and I feel like the more that he can trust you with, the more that you will have in order to feed your business, feed your purpose. So I definitely feel like they're hand in hand. You got to be able to manage your money, and I know we talked a lot about this on the podcast that we did when you
Yes.
came onto my podcast. But You can't maintain an impact if you can't maintain your finances. You can make an impact. I'm not saying you can't make one, but
Right.
to maintain it, you have to be able to maintain your resources, which means maintaining your finances. It really reflects in how you maintain your mission, how you manage your mission. So, um, it is a tool. It's not the master, right? We don't serve money. We serve God. He will
Yes.
provide a way, and I'm not saying in any way that he won't, but
Right.
you have to be able to manage what it is that he's given you. So yes,
Absolutely. 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 And by the way, her podcast is called Sessions with Coach April. Am I correct?
yes, yes, ma'am.
And I believe it comes on weekly Wednesdays. Am I
Yep,
correct?
yep.
Yes.
At 12:15.
Yes. So make sure that you all are looking for that. Go to her YouTube channel at Coach A. Hogan. Am I correct?
Hey, Hogan. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Go to her YouTube channel, like the channel, and tune into her podcast every week on Wednesday because they are definitely informative. And if you apply the things that they are talking about, it will definitely change your business life, but your life in general, right?
Mhm.
Because all of these things are intertwined.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this question. In your well, how do you coach or disciple others into walking into their God given authority?
So I would say first, I my goal is to help them navigate clarity of their purpose, right? That's first. If you don't understand your purpose, if you're not clear on what it is you're supposed to be doing and what it's supposed to mean to you, then it's hard
Mhm.
for you to walk in that purpose. So clarity, that's the first piece, navigating clarity in your purpose. And then recognizing your gifts. And then after you're clear, you have clarity, after you recognize your gifts, then there are tools that you use to walk it out, right? Walk it out, walk them together. Okay,
For
so
sure.
that's my goal is first recognition and clarity, and then the tools and the steps to actually navigate and walk into your gift. And then maintaining, right? Because you can start, you could get there, it could be a big high, and then all of a sudden, right? So understanding how to maintain that gift, how to understand that you are a steward and that it again, it's not you, it's him. It's not about you, it's about him. And then it doesn't have to be perfect. You progress through obedience. So um, a lot of people are sitting waiting for the right time, right? Waiting
Mhm.
for permission. God's already given you permission. So now you just got to walk in it. And if it means taking the extra step to get a coach, whether it's a business coach, whether it's a financial coach, whatever that looks like, you need help in those to get clear in those areas or how to do it. That's what the rest of us in the kingdom are for. But yeah, so that's the biggest thing.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Those are some good tips, y'all. So, y'all know how we do here at the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast. I didn't say it at the beginning, but y'all already know. Y'all should have your notebooks and your pens and your, favorite writing utensil, whatever it is, because you should be writing these things down. And she has been dropping gems this entire time. So, y'all should have pages full of notes. Okay. That's all that I'm saying. Right. And then make sure to follow her so you can get more pages full of notes. Okay, for your business. All right, for business and just life. So, what cultural lies or cultural norms have you had to rebel against in order to walk in true kingdom dominion?
I say one of the biggest things is that you have to choose between God and business or faith
Mm,
and business. Um, that women can't lead boldly because we absolutely can. That success means compromising your values, and it doesn't. So, they always say you have to rob Peter to pay Paul, or you got to step on people to get to a certain space of success. And that's absolutely not true. So, two words that people use all the time that I have learned to disengage from, and
okay.
that's hustle and grind. I'm hustling.
Ooh,
I'm on my grind. If you look up the definitions of both of those words, nothing is enticing about hustling or grinding. So, I'm not hustling. I'm not grinding. Instead, I'm embracing grace-led leadership. Because because I don't have to hustle and grind because it's
yeah.
not me, it's God. So, That's probably the biggest ones, is just knowing, hey, I can walk boldly in who I am, no matter what the color of my skin is, no matter what my age is, no matter what gender I am. I serve a God who rises above all of those things, right? And then I can operate in my business in a way that is grace led. I don't have to step on
Mhm.
people, right? And I can
Yeah.
still be successful, right? And I don't have to worry about later getting caught up in the drama of who I stepped on. So, and it
That
doesn't mean
part.
that it's perfect all the time. It doesn't mean that I'm always at the greatest height in my career, right? Like things happen, but I go through those things to learn, so that way I can now go to the next step. So, I had to reject the idea that I needed validation from people and just walk
Yeah.
in what God said.
I love that. Let's say it again. Grace led. Grace led. There was another word you had behind that.
Leadership, grace
Leadership.
led
That's what I thought. Okay. Grace led leadership. I love that. Y'all write that down.
leadership.
Grace led leadership. Okay. And my people know like I'm a words person. And so when you brought up like those words, hustle and grind and going and looking and to see what those things actually mean, like, no, who wants that? Right. Love to
Mhm.
give analogies, like, so you think of your brakes grinding, like, who wants that life?
Right. Exactly.
Just you're
Exactly.
doing damage, okay? You are
Right.
damaging, you grinding to the detriment of yourself. But like you said, when we are um part of the kingdom, it's that grace-led leadership. And I absolutely love that.
Yes.
All right. Um, what uh, how do you confront opposition or warfare that comes with leading at the various different levels?
So first of all, I don't run from it. It's gonna happen, right? Like, I used to have a hard time with the hard conversations. I don't have that problem anymore. I don't run from it. I pray through it. So that's one thing. I pray through it, and then I've learned to have emotional intelligence. And that's a word we use a lot in business, but it is very kingdom related, right? Because
Yeah.
having emotional intelligence has everything to do with a godly walk. So it's in how you show up for people. It's how you treat people even when their opinion doesn't match yours. It's how you listen even when they're saying something about you, right? That's that self-reflection, is even if they're saying it in an angry way, does it have any relevance, right? So I've learned to lead with grace instead of offense. So, oftentimes, even I've been in so many situations just lately. Even my kids told me not too long ago. They called me with I was in Mexico, and they called me with this big old ordeal, and everybody in the house, my kids, my god kids, everybody's having a big argument, right? And I said at first they were a little afraid to call me because prior military, I
Yeah.
used to iron fist like
Okay. Yes.
but my approach was not that. So that even my daughter was like, I just didn't expect that from you, mom. Like, I just, like, you went into the whole, like, we need each other, emotional intelligence, and you guys take some time to listen to each other, and, that type of thing. She's like, I
Yes.
just didn't expect you to do that. So, and I do a lot of that in my business too, with my team, right? Like, I still have my listen, this is a business, this is my baby. And part of it being my baby and the purpose of my business being a kingdom business, which means we have things we have to do. We have to be in order, right? If we
Mhm.
worked in any other business, it had to be in order for it to succeed. So we can't not be in order here. But
Absolutely.
that doesn't mean that everything that I say is right. I learned in a class that I took a little while back that conflict is not a bad word. People automatically associate conflict with, oh, conflict means it's bad. No, conflict is how you grow a business. Conflict is how you
Yes.
say, okay, this is your opinion, but this is the opinion that conflicts with yours. It doesn't have to be an argument. So,
Right.
a welcoming conflict, because that's how we're going to be able to point out, this is my thoughts, these are your thoughts, and how do we actually come up with the solution to fix this. So that's the biggest thing. I've also learned to recognize an attack as confirmation that I'm headed in
Mhm.
the right direction, and that is the biggest thing. Like, that's probably one of my favorite things to say, like, hey, we going through some stuff, we're doing something right. So let's just keep going. So yeah.
I love it. I love it because when we hit those bumps or we hit conflict or we hit opposition, one of the first things would be like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. We want to retreat. And
Mhm.
so I often say that too. No, that means forge ahead. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Keep
right,
going. If God
right.
isn't telling you to sit down, or do something else, you keep it moving, right?
Right,
Let him
exactly.
take care of all that chaos around you too, because he's got it.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
enemy's not gonna be happy with you doing what you're supposed to do. So, why is he gonna
Right.
bother you if you're doing everything wrong? I mean, if you're doing everything the way that he would want you to do it, why is he gonna bother you? Go ahead and keep doing what you gotta do, right? Like, so
Exactly.
when you know you're walking in purpose and you're impacting and you know you're doing what God told you to do, and generally, I guess one of the things is, oh, how do I know? Right?
Yeah.
So there's one thing about purpose is it's not hard, right? Like it's something that it's a gift that you've been given, which is why they always say
Mhm.
don't sit on it because you can lose it.
Yeah.
So it's a gift so it's not hard. So a lot of times we say you listen to the voice that you trust the most, and that's the voice that God comes in, which is your own voice. Sometimes you just got to sit, reflect, and listen, and you'll know that you're going the right way. And if things are happening, oftentimes, especially if you're walking in purpose, it is the enemy because he wants to distract you. And we are easily distracted creatures.
Yeah.
So
Yes, we
just
are.
continue to walk the path. If you need to pivot, God will let you know when you need to pivot. And you'll know. Like, stop. "Oh, how do I know?" Just listen. So yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Right, right, absolutely. And we need to make sure, like I said, on a daily, when you're doing those daily check-ins with God, when you're doing your daily, prayer and study and worship and things like that, you'll hear his voice. Like you said, he'll tell you, hey,
Yeah.
this way.
Right,
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 keep
right.
going.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Listen, you all, hope that you all have been enjoying this conversation with Coach April. It has been an amazing one. Make sure that you share this out, because I know that there are other people that are on your timeline who need to hear what Coach April is saying today. And not only today, they likely need to hear what she's saying every day. Okay. So make sure that you be good digital evangelists and share this broadcast out. Well, Coach April, we have one um, final question. And then after this question, I definitely want you to share with the people how they can connect with you, what you have coming up, and all of those things. But the question is this: what final word or practical tips would you give to a listener who is feeling called to lead, but they are afraid to dominate?
All right. So I'll first say God would not call you and leave you unequipped. I don't care how unprepared you feel. If he called you, you are equipped to do what he called you for. So start moving. Courage doesn't mean that you're not scared. So a lot of people, oh well, if I have courage, then I'm not afraid. No, courage doesn't mean that you're not afraid. It means that even through the fear, you
Yes,
still move anyway. So don't wait for perfection. Don't wait till you feel like you're ready, because you're never going to feel like you're ready. Start
that
leading
part.
exactly where you are, and God will expand your territory as you steward it well. All right. So He will expand it as you steward it well. You weren't made to shrink yourself, you were made to shine for the glory of God.
Amen. 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 Listen, y'all, I could talk to Coach April all day, but we don't have all day on this show. She's got stuff to do. I got stuff to do as well. We got stuff that God has called us to do. Coach April, it has been a pleasure to have you here. I want you to share with the people how they can connect with you. What do you have going on? What's coming up next?
Okay,
Or-
so my company is called A Rich Innovations, and you can visit me online at www.arichinnovations.com. I'm also on social media. Facebook is at A Rich Innovations, Instagram is A Rich underscore like a boss. In terms of what's coming up, so number one, I have a business consulting and business services company. So if you're looking to grow your business, contact me and we can do a free consultation. I have a virtual mailbox that starts in July. So if you have a home based business, don't put all your home, when you register your business, all your home addresses on the internet. Don't put all that there. Get you a virtual address. So you can be anywhere in the US, and we do mail scanning and mail forwarding. And then last, I have a program starting in January called Mindset. So one thing about success is it starts here. It doesn't start in the work that you do. It first starts here. So that program starts in January. We launch advertising in August. So you can find all that on our social media or on www.arichinnovations.com.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Listen, y'all, go and follow her. Just because y'all heard her say the program starts in January, don't be like, okay, let me, tune back into her in, November. No, it's gonna be too late. You already heard her say stuff is gonna kick off in August. You want to be one of the early ones, okay? Getting your seat secured or whatever, which means that if this is the first time that you are seeing Coach April, that means that you need to go start checking out her stuff right now. So go like her Instagram page, her YouTube, Facebook, all of those things. Dig into her content. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. She is definitely a woman who is kingdom led, who leads, who has that grace led leadership. She is definitely a radical, godly steward. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had her on the show. So, um, Coach April, thank you so much for being here. And as we, prepare to go on out, I'm gonna ask you if you can just hang back a little bit. But thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for everything that you have shared today, all of the gems. I know that there have been people who have been impacted by the things that you had to say, and many more who will be impacted by all of the work that you're doing for the kingdom. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very, very welcome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wasn't that a great, great episode? Coach April is the best. Okay. So, again, make sure that you are following her. I want to remind you that our Financial Rebellion program is kicking off in August. Um, by the time this airs, you will have missed the early bird period. Okay. We left this early bird open longer than I normally do, had it running longer than I normally do. So there are no excuses. Okay. So now it's regular price. Um, but if you know who my ambassadors are and you're connected with them, you might still be able to get some kind of discount through them. All right. So make sure to look out for them. But secure your seat. We are kicking off at the end of August, where we are going to have this 90-day experience where we are learning how to become the radical godly stewards that God would have us to be, right? To pursue God, right? In order that we can get the rest of our lives, including our financial lives, in order. Well, that is all that we have for you today. Thank you for tuning in to the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast. We'll be back next Thursday with another episode. And uh, hey, until then, continue to produce, multiply, and dominate.